A journey begins with one small step. It doesn't matter how hard you hit, whether you win or lose. What matters is that you have a common goal. And to reach that goal, it takes a band of brothers acting as one. Every week, we come together to witness these gladiators of the gridiron pour their heart and soul onto the field. This is Friday Night Rivals on MyTV WQMY.
Welcome to Jim Roth Field at Tiger Stadium, Catawissa, Columbia County. Tonight it's a Heartland Conference crossover matchup between the Shamokin Indians and the Southern Columbia Tigers. Good evening, everyone. I'm Bob I, joined topside by Hall of Fame coach Stan Kaharski. Paul Grippy will be on the sidelines. Well, the storyline around tonight's game between the coaches, former Southern Columbia Tiger standout Henry Hynoski, now the coach at Shamokin, comes on the field to meet his old mentor, Jim Roth, as they talked before the game. Jim Roth with over 415 wins, Henry Hynoski 2-1, coming in as the Shamokin coach. And Stan, I ask you, tonight we will talk about the coaches, but there's still a football game to be played. How do you get those kids focused?
Well, again, I think the key word, Bob, is challenge. They're coming in to play a game against the team that's has won 64 straight league games, can score in a variety of different ways, very difficult defensively, and the challenge is going to have to be met. If Shamokin's going to stay in this game for any length of time, they're going to have to play every down like it's the most important down in the game.
Henry's changed the culture. Last year, just one win. This year, they're 2-1. Nice win last week against Central Mountain. They have a great running game with Bryson James.
They do, and again, it's baby steps, Bob. When you take over a program and you're a new coach, and especially when that program has struggled for X number of seasons, you got to go in, and it starts in the winter in the weight room and continues through the summer. And from everything that we've been able to ascertain, Coach Hynoski's been able to do that.
The Tigers, meanwhile, still rolling. You mentioned 64 straight wins. They've dominated teams this year, scoring 48 points. Our other Plaza House Spotlight player of the game, and everyone knows him, Cage Garcia.
He had a great year last year. He's low to the ground. He's really put together. He's tough to bring down. Plus, he's got a great deal of agility, and his vision is superlative. Trying to stop him is not an easy task, but again, that's one of the challenges that Shamokin Indians are going to have to face.
It's a beautiful night for football in Catawissa. Let's see the weather for the weekend and for tonight. Let's head over to Mike Linden now from the Fox 56 News, first at 10.
Bob, it has not been the prettiest start to the month of September. It's been overcast and wet for what feels like every single day of the month. But now heading into Friday evening, we are likely to experience some wholesale change heading into the weekend. Dropping into the low 60s, so a little cool out there for kickoff. And with those winds nice and light, more good news for the kickers and punters. All in all, this is likely to be the start of what looks to be a rather nice looking weekend. And what better way to kick it off with another Friday Night Rivals game of the week.
Thanks, Mike. We're ready for football in Catawissa. Last time Henry Hynoski lost on this field in Catawissa was in 2005 to Shamokin. Can the Indians pull off the upset here tonight? We'll find out. Coming up, we'll have the starting lineups and the opening kick. It's Shamokin and Southern Columbia next.
This is Friday Night Rivals on MyTV WQMY.
Henry Hynoski returns with the Shamokin Indians to Tiger Stadium, where he once played. Here come the Southern Columbia Tigers, the defending Class 2A state champions, on Military Appreciation Night. Welcome back, everyone, to Tiger Stadium. The third member of our crew, as always, is Paul Grippy, and Henry Hynoski, just like he played, Paul, is always tough, and he's turned this Indians team into a very tough team.
Bob, he is doing well as head coach of the Indians, and he had a lot of build-up to starting this season as his first with the head coach of the Indians. He was actually hired in January of 2017 to be the football coach and the dean of students at Shamokin. but he had to finish his education. That's why it took a whole year. Once that finished, he was hired as the football coach and the dean, started building his program. He got the players into the weight room. He brought some coaches over like Ted Heitzman, his old quarterback at Southern Columbia, on his staff. Kurt Stelfach used to coach at Southern Columbia, is now there. Tony Shikitano, his old strength coach, now with Shamokin. And Henry has been getting the right attitude into these players' minds. The rosters have increased. He's got 50 players with Shamokin now, and off to a pretty good start. In the past 2 seasons, Shamokin has combined for just 2 wins. This year, they're already 2-1. Bobby's got them headed in the right direction.
He does, Paul. In fact, his Indians won the toss. They elected to receive. Ethan Dunkelberger doing the kick for Southern Columbia this year. Wolfgang Persson and Joe Masser back to receive, and we're underway at Jim Roth Field. Tigers special teams making an early presence.
Nobody was fooled by that little reverse. There were 5 black shirts.
So Shamokin will go with Colin Bowers at quarterback. He's 6 foot, 175 pounds. He's thrown 4 touchdowns, just 1 interception, Coach. He's athletic and has good presence in the pocket.
He does. He's been 26 for 47 for over 470 yards. He's thrown for a number of touchdowns as well, 4. And he's run for 1 too, Bob.
The Tigers defense coming in just giving up 4.3 points per game. In fact, they've only given up 13 points all season long. Stray handoff right up to James. First carry.
They're in an offset I, 2 tight ends, power football. And here you'll see it, the handoff, lead blocker. Pick up of about 5, almost 6 yards.
Good start for James, the junior. 3 touchdowns on the year. He also can catch it out of the backfield. Bowers, the former basketball player, came back out.
Same set, Bob, same play. Again, they're going to be short.
Coach Hinoski saying he runs different kinds of offenses. You'll see a little bit of wing T, a little bit of I, little spread.
These first 2 plays tells me he wants to establish a physical presence, at least as they approach this defense of Southern Columbia.
So a big 3rd down coming up for Shamokin, first possession of the game. James trying to get outside. Fleming there along with Cade Lynn, number 24, and the Shamokin Indians will be forced to punt from the 12.
They went away from the strength of the formation that time, a little toss sweep. Plenty of Southern Columbia players there defensively.
Julian Fleming back to receive the punt. Jameson Kramer, the senior, doing the kicking from just on the edge of his own end zone. Good high kick. Tigers will get excellent field position to begin this. First possession right near midfield on the Shamokin side of the ball. So that means we will see Stone Hollenbach, the senior quarterback, headed to Alabama as with walk-on preference, 558 yards, no interceptions on the year, great physical tools.
Absolutely, and again, he hasn't played an entire game because of the difference in the scores. He's not been in there for 4 quarters.
So here come the Tigers. As you might expect, 48 points per game, over 440 yards of offense per game. Come out, play action. Wrong page between Fleming and Hollenbach. Thrown to nobody.
Southern Columbia was in a 1-back set formation. It's tied into the bench. And again, as you said, just a miscommunication that time. Fleming ran a comeback. Hollenbach threw the fade.
So you can see Coach Roth not going to hold back against his former pupil and former standout player. Garcia behind his lineman. Picks up about 4, and here are the Toyota starting lineup for the Southern Columbia Tigers. Rodaro in the backfield, touchdown out of the year. He'll play the fullback. They do play the wing T, so you'll see a lot of guys on the outside, including Cam Holliday, the tight end, doing the blocking up front. 3 guys return on the offensive line, all of the right side. New guys are on the left. Hollabach's throw to Fleming is over his head. 4th down coming up.
Great start defensively for the Indians. You can see there's just missed timing here.
So there's a lot going on here tonight, Coach. There's homecoming. There's a military appreciation night. Henry Hanoski presented with an NFL football, gold football before the game. A lot of waiting around. A lot of adrenaline, I think, on both sides.
And a big crowd here.
Fleming, a huge kick into the end zone. And Shamokin will have the ball at the 20. So here is the offense behind Colin Bowers. Wetzel, last year's quarterback, plays a little bit of halfback and running back. He's a senior. He doesn't have a touchdown. The receivers, a couple of basketball players actually came out. Joe Masser and Jalik West are the receivers. West is a senior, 5 catches, 53 yards. Up front, they do have some size. Up there, Brian Hornsberger, 6'3", 320 pounds, just a junior. One of the things Coach Hanoski will do, he will establish the run or try in the beginning.
Again, he's going to test the offensive line that he has and see if they can run. That's the 3rd time that they've run to the right side offensively towards their bench. They were in an I formation, just ran a power play, stuffed up by numerous black shirts.
Indians offense averaging about 28 points per game. They do put up some good totals, 314 yards so far on the season, much better than last year. No rush for Bowers, going deep for West, overthrown.
Here we see a slight roll by Bowers. Showed a good arm. Here we go again, you'll see it. Straight drop back. Fairly decent protection. Just overthrown slightly.
3rd and long facing Shamokin. White and purple, their colors, black and gold for Southern. Here comes the rush, and Halliday has him. His 9th sack of the season. He came straight through untouched.
Here we see a blitz. Looked like he was looking to throw a screen pass. Completely disrupted by Southern Columbia's defense.
Inside the 10, another punt coming up for Kramer. This one deep inside his own end zone. Fleming and Garcia back to receive near the Indians' 40. Another short kick. Garcia will pick it up. Couple blocks. Cage Garcia down to the 20, a 20-yard return. A short field coming up for the Tigers.
Here we'll see him field this punt, Bob.
Good return, Coach.
Yes, and again, he was hit and still got 4 extra yards on that. You got to tackle him. It's got to be a gang effort.
Penn State coach James Franklin looking on directly in front of Southern Columbia, right at the 15-yard line. Cage's little brother, Gavin, with speed to the outside. Taken down inside the 1. 19-yard gain for Garcia. 1st and goal, Southern.
This is simply a sweep to the short side. Bob, we talked about Gavin before the game. He's not very big. He's a freshman. Showed some skill on that particular play.
inside the Manuka Subaru red zone. Trying to give Cabin a touchdown. They get it. It's a Plaza House touchdown for Southern Columbia. They take a 6-0 lead. 7:21 left in the first.
There it is, just a lead up off the left side. Gets hit and still drives through the tackler for a touchdown. That's his 4th touchdown in 2 weeks.
Yep, he had 3 touchdowns last week.
This
Kick is up to the left, but Southern takes advantage of the short field, and they take the early 6-0 lead.
field position. You'll find Plaza.
We're back at Southern Columbia after the kick. Shamokin again inside the 20. Looks like right about the 20-yard line. Not good field position. You mentioned field position before we went to break, Coach. It's not been the favor of Shamokin so far.
It hasn't been, and if they don't get the ball on the other side of the 50-yard line, everything's a short field, and there's too much talent on Southern Columbia's offense.
Give it to Wetzel, the fullback, up for a couple of yards. It looks like Lear Quinton on the stop. One thing you did notice with the Tigers are not many seniors playing on that side of the ball for Southern Columbia.
There's not. We looked at the roster, and it's an abundance of underclassmen, a lot of juniors. I think we said there were perhaps 1 or 2 seniors starting defensively.
Take a look at the Southern Columbia defense coming up shortly. Try to sweep. Doesn't fake Cal Halliday. Another tackle for a loss for the junior. Here's that defense that's playing fantastic. Cole Schenkweiler in there. 6 tackles on the year and a sack. Behind him, boy, they have some great linebackers here, including Preston Zachman and Nick Kroll in there, a junior. Watch out for Tillett as well. And behind him, the secondary is pretty good themselves. They have 3 interceptions on the season. Cade Lynn in there, 14 tackles. He's just a junior as well. 3rd and long. Snap is bad. Here comes Quinton. Another sack for Southern, and another punt for Shamokin.
Total breakdown in the defensive. Bad snap. Ball's inside the 5-yard line. Once again, they're going to punt out of their own end zone, guaranteeing great field position for Southern Columbia.
Good kick. Fleming will go back, and he'll pick it up on a bounce at the 49. A wall of white facing Fleming. He trips himself up. On Southern side, they'll have the ball at the 41-yard line.
Try to make a play.
Maybe a little bit nerves, James Franklin here, but Franklin's been around him for most of the time. But, you know, these are kids, right? 17 years old, trying to impress.
On a big stage.
Yeah.
On a big stage. Here's a penalty, Bob.
Got illegal block on the flag, so this will back up Southern a little bit more towards their end zone.
I'm curious whether there's ever a football game on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday that there's not
right.
a push in the back.
That's right. Southern up 6-0. They had a short field, took 3 plays to go 20 yards. Now a little bit longer now. Ball at their own 31. Allenbach has not looked good so far in his first 2 throws. But he doesn't need to look good all the time. Great running backs here. A little bit of mix-up in the backfield. Shamokin takes advantage. Take Garcia down. Bunch of players, including 52, Blake Zahler in there for the stop. Here is that Shamokin defense, giving up 25 points per game. Wetzel, we talked about him. at the defense shortly. Hollabach, quick in to Fleming. Look out! Can't stop him now. It's a Manuka Subaru touchdown for Julian Fleming, 71 yards, making it look easy.
Three-step drop, slant right in the seam, and nobody's catching this young man, not on this field tonight.
He has great tools, just a physical specimen. You see him, spends a lot of time in the weight room. What were you impressed with when you saw him?
Again, he's very lean, cut. That's great speed, Bob. I mean, he just separated from the 3 or 4 Shamokin players that were trying to chase him down.
Well, James Franklin, I don't think you need to see much more.
Well, I'm sure he wants to, though.
He will.
You'll find Plaza House Furniture showrooms in Selinsgrove and Bloomsburg with more than 100,000 square feet of showroom space. You can update your home with the latest in furniture styles or just add a new companion piece. And comparison shopping is easy with so many choices all under one roof. Plaza House guarantees the lowest prices and a 50-mile free delivery. Plaza House Furniture in Selinsgrove and Bloomsburg. Our house is your house.
Fleming's 5th touchdown on this season.
The explosiveness of this offense, Bob, is just, it's amazing for a high school football team. Great running backs, quarterback that's, as you said before, is headed for Alabama after he graduates, and a junior who's 6'3" and can run like the wind.
Shamokin fighting an uphill battle from the beginning. James will take it, the junior, up to the 20 again. Cal Halliday, you know, one of those guys that, you know, you talk about and you hear, but everyone talks about Fleming, Garcia, and Hollabach for good reason. But Cal Halliday, you take him on defense. Last year he had over 102 tackles, 8.5 sacks. He's got 2 sacks this year, 29 tackles now. He's another kid that could play somewhere. You know, he's not 161, 190 is decent size.
Coach Roth said before the game that his defense is very, very talented, very physical and tough, and Halliday is one of the leaders on that defense.
Can the Indians get anything going? Of course, they did lose to North Schuylkill week 2 against a very good Spartan team. 36-15 was that score. Student body left. Bowers, good gain, up for 4. All right. Toyota, key to the game for Shamokin: play smart and disciplined.
Again, that's the name of the game. You have to recognize what you've recognized all week in practice, and you have to take control. If you're a down lineman, your gap protection. Secondary, you've got to defend the pass.
Shamokin, again, does have decent size up front, 250, 275, and 320. 315 on the other side. Just now a matter of execution against a Southern Columbia defense that will bring the house sometimes. James, about a yard.
Those tosses are slow developing, and Southern Columbia's defensive linemen are getting off their blocks and they're rushing to the football. Here you'll see it, just a toss sweep, and there you see 3 Columbia boys in the backfield.
(4-4) defense for Southern Columbia.
And they walk people up, so it's almost a 6-man front.
Only 47 yards given up per game for the Tigers. 47. Bowers rolls. Had a receiver out in the flat.
That was Matt Knowles, I believe, and he
Yep.
had plenty of room if he were able to bring that football in.
Another punt coming up now for the Indians.
In order for the Indians to be able to be successful, they're going to have to throw the ball a little bit. I'm sure that Coach Inoski sees that they're going to have a tough time running the ball inside.
James to punt. Goes out of bounds. Southern will have it. Their side of the field at the 38.
Sunbury Motor Company is offering an additional $750 off any new Ford for all active or retired military and first responders, and an additional $1,000 off for first responders on the Ford F-150. Visit Sunbury Motor Company in Sunbury or on the web at sunburymotors.com.
So Henry Hanoski's team wants to call timeout. 2:51 left in the first. 13-0 your score.
Big thing here, Bob, is that the Shamokin Indians cannot get down on themselves. They realize, obviously, that they're playing against a very, very fine football team. But they've got to go out and do what I'm sure Coach Hanoski expects them to do, to be smart, to be intelligent, to play physically, and make sure every down is as important as the previous down.
So it's a Keystone College timeout called by the Indians, their first of the night. Impact players brought to you by Sunbury Motors. Well, we saw what Julian Fleming could do. We've already seen Cal Halliday, and we've seen Gavin Garcia. So impact players, definitely.
Absolutely. And I'm sure Gage is going to show his talent during the course of this second quarter. Or first quarter.
First quarter. Gavin Garcia, you saw him. He's just a freshman, 5'7", 160. Can pass, catch, and you saw the speed. Here is his older brother. Not much running room. Good defense by Wetzel. About a yard gain. So far they're playing pretty good defense on Garcia when he gets the ball.
That was basically the buck sweep. A guard pulled from the backside. Nowhere to go. Good job by Shamokin.
Jim Roth, 415 wins. I believe he's second in the state now behind Jack Henzis. 8-time state champions. Moving up front, and everybody's pointing at everybody else.
It looked like the tackle from Southern Columbia did jump a little bit.
Start, offense, 5-yard penalty, second down.
Well, it's one of the things Coach Roth talked about. He's not happy with the offensive line play. No, considering he has 3 starters on the right-hand side back.
But he said they have to be more consistent, and he's disappointed in their lack of consistency.
Comes a little bit of a rush over the middle. Fleming again. Catches it in traffic, and he's gone. Another long touchdown for Julian Fleming. This one 76 yards for the Plaza House. Touchdown for number 4. Wow.
I'm sure that Coach Franklin is elated to see this. Under a lot of pressure, a little bit of a crossing route coming right to left, catches it in stride, and he's just too fast. At the combine, I believe he ran 4.3.
A little quicker than me. Yep.
And me.
Together. Dunkelberger on for the extra point. He gets this one through. And 1:47 left in the first. 2 touchdowns from Fleming. It's 20-0 Southern Columbia. Shamokin had them back where they needed them, but again,
playmakers.
He couldn't stop.
It's all about playmakers. In the pass, here we'll see it. Under pressure, gets sandwiched between 2 rushers, catches the ball, and Fleming is just, his speed is exceptional. And remember, he's only a junior.
Yep. And how about the pass by Hollenbach in traffic?
Well, that's why he's going to be a preferred walk-on at Alabama. You hang in that pocket. And,
yep.
Whatever jitters they had that first series where
they're gone.
Misconnected on 2 passes certainly have been erased by 2 stellar plays by both quarterback and wide receiver.
So, teed up again by Dunkelberger. Looks like James back to receive with Wetzel. or I should say Pearson, number 7. Kick it on that side to the left. Great play downfield by, number 28, Halliday. And Shamokin once again backed up just on the shadow of their end zone.
Keystone College Experience Open House on Saturday, September 22nd. Students and parents register at keystone.edu. There's a big gap, Bob, between the returner and his blockers, and the Southern Columbia team that's covering the kickoff, they're way down there.
So James, couple yards. Good yardage on that.
It's, again, power eye, power football. Looking at this, the first couple of series, I think Coach Hynoski is trying to establish some physicality on the part of his Indians, especially up front.
Goes into a power eye set. This time, it's Nate Kroll, the linebacker, who shoots in.
Great play. Played off a block that time. Was able to keep his leverage and make the tackle for a loss.
3rd and long on the way for Shamokin. And
there you see him right there.
Indians coming in. Good balance, 158 through the air, 156 on the ground. So that's good balance, but not much through the air so far, as we've seen. As we get towards the end of the first quarter here in Catawissa on a beautiful homecoming night. Bowers, the knoll, and knocked in and out of his hand. Shane Miller in the secondary knocks it down. Another punt coming up for the Indians.
Here, a slight roll to the right. Throws a nice ball. Great defensive play. Bob, I've said this over and over again. When you have to pass, and everybody knows that, it's very difficult.
Maybe some more play action on first down.
Yeah,
maybe
absolutely.
some more a screen pass or something to mix it up.
No question that you have to mix it up. You can't be predictable.
This kick by James, a little bit lower. Good, takes a good bounce, though. Indians will down it on their side of the field, 48-yard line. So that's where Southern will take over, up 20-0. 11 seconds left in this first quarter. We've seen a lot of excitement from number 4, Julian Fleming.
Shamokin has had to punt out of the shadow of their end zone at least 3 or 4 times already. They're going to have to be able to sustain some offense if this game is not going to get away from them.
Let's talk about the call in the beginning. Coin flip goes to Shamokin. They defer. They want the ball. How do you feel about that one?
I think taking the ball, he felt very strongly that this was an opportunity for his players to go out and get some first downs rather than kick the ball to a team that's explosive.
Good yardage by the offensive line. Up for a good gain is Rodarmo, and that's how we'll end the first quarter. All Southern Columbia here at Jim Rock Field, 20-0 after the first.
Friday Night Rivals is brought to you by Toyota, Let's Go Places, Luzerne County Community College, Sunbury Motors, Keystone College, Plaza House Furniture, and Manuka Subaru.
Back at Tiger Stadium, about to begin the second quarter, and I have a guest joining me. This is Mr. Tony Shikatano, and he is the strength coach for the Shamokin Indians, brand new first year with the team. But an interesting story how he came along. Henry Hynoski, I guess, is the one that got you to come and join this squad. What's been your relationship with Henry over the years?
Well, I know Henry and his family since he's been a baby. When he was 12 and 13 years old, his dad and mother wanted me to work out with him. And we started a relationship where they brought him over every other day, never missing. And you can see from the start, he had that tremendous desire and determination. He really wanted to be a player.
Yeah, and you trained him right through high school, through college at Pittsburgh, and even in the offseason when he was in the NFL. When he got this job, he knew he wanted you to be the guy. Now what are you passing on to these Shamokin players? What was the summer and the training like?
Well, I found out we had a bunch of young kids who need a lot of work. But they were young men that were willing to work hard. They never complained, and they just kept getting better. And with a young staff here and new players, this team will just keep getting better. Henry's going to be a great coach.
Okay. And as we progress here, Southern Columbia just scored a touchdown here to add 6 points more on. But you are from Mount Carmel. You still have a relationship with Southern Columbia. You still know some of the players on that team.
Yeah, we have 15 players on our wrestling team that I work with all year long. And they're a great group of kids. They're hard workers. They're tough kids. And this is a night I don't want this game.
Yeah, some butterflies, some mixed emotions for you being here on the sideline.
A lot more than that.
Yeah, I understand. All right, thank you very much for joining us. Good luck with this football team. Good luck with that wrestling team. Tony Shikatano, the strength coach for the Shamokin football team, Bob.
Thank you, Paul. And it starts in the weight room, and Henry Hanoski knows that. He knows that because that's what they do here at Southern Columbia, right, Coach?
Absolutely. There's no question about that. Here we see play action, a little bit of a waggle look, crossing route by Gage. And he gets a great block there. It looked like Julian Fleming, who took out 2 Shamokin defenders.
So Garcia picks up the touchdown, his 3rd receiving of the season. That went for 36 yards, 27-0 to score.
I wonder how much of a rivalry is in the Garcia household in terms of who's going to score.
Well, now that Gavin is now off the junior high team and playing here, yeah, a little bit of a rivalry. Short kick. Master takes it for Shamokin, and better field position, at least to start this drive, Coach, up
This
by
is
the
probably
33.
their best field position.
Let's see now if Henry Hanoski's opening up the playbook a little bit or wants to stick to the ground game.
When Shamokin came out in the last series, went to the power I, I'm sure the thinking there was to control the clock a little bit.
So the Indians, not much offense to talk about so far. A bunch of punts in that first quarter. Gave good field position back to Southern Columbia. And let's see now what Colin Bowers can do. And Bowers had a good game against Milton this year, 241 yards, so he could throw the ball. Low snap, and coming in, shooting in, is Max Tillett, the junior linebacker. Here's some impact players we're hoping to see something from, brought to you by Sunbury Motors. Talked about Wetzel, the former quarterback. Zahler, good size in the offensive line. We haven't seen much of Nate Grimes at linebacker yet.
Max Tillett was across that line of scrimmage before the running back from Shamokin could get out of his tracks. Tackles him for about a 6-yard loss.
Good strike by Bowers, in and out of the hands of Zalik West. A lot of drop passes so far by Shamokin.
He had it until he was taken to the ground and the ball just squirted out of his hands. 3rd and 16. Tough call here.
Let's see what they're going to call. Looks like Henry Hanoski doing most of the play calling. Here comes the rush. Bowers tries to get out. It's going to go down as a sack. It's going to be Lynn, it looks like, his first sack of the season. Here comes the punt team again for Shamokin. So let's talk about Henry Hanoski, the coach, after this replay.
We see tenacious on defense. There's so many people across the line of scrimmage reestablishing that offensive line of scrimmage into the backfield.
No coaching experience. Great career as a player. Well documented. Low snap. And it's going to be Southern ball right at the 15-yard line. What's the difference between going from player to coach? Never been coached before, now calling plays. I mean, you know what you want to do. You know you have an idea, but it's not the same thing.
It's a big difference. Patience is probably the virtue that all new young head coaches who were former players have to have, especially when you walk into a program that's been down on their luck over the past couple of years. Approaching the culture of the team, that's a step in the right direction. But when you get into a game like this and it's 27-0 and there's still almost 10 minutes to go in the second quarter, what do? What plays do you call?
Garcia inside the Manuka Subaru red zone again for Southern Columbia.
You're looking for small victories, however you define what they are. I know I went through the same thing. I was 22 years old when I first started as an assistant coach, and sometimes couldn't understand why players I was coaching couldn't do certain things that I asked them to do. And I gradually and pretty quickly actually learned that, listen, be patient with them. That's your job. Teach them.
Well, it's a teaching moment tonight. They knew they were the underdogs coming in. So Gavin Garcia, his second touchdown of the night. It's a Plaza House touchdown. And the Tigers extend their lead here in the first half. 12 yards for Gavin.
There it is. It's simply a sweep. The guard pulls. Gavin has decent speed.
Funkelberger on for the extra point. This one is good. And the Tigers, with 9:14 left in the half, extend their lead now 34-0.
Do you know a student or fan of tonight's game? Call them now and tell them they can watch on any computer, tablet, or smartphone wherever they are. Go to fox56.com for a high-quality live stream right now.
You're watching Friday Night Rivals on my TV, WQNY.
We're back in Catawissa, just down the road from Knoebels Amusement Resort. And a lot to play for with the sunset behind the Southern Columbia band. Their team up 34-0. They've scored on 5 of 6 possessions. They've had great field position and not much going on for the Shamokin team. Toss to the freshman, Max Madden, a little bright spot on the season for the Indians. He has a touchdown, had a nice game last week against Central Mountain, scored, rushed for 60 yards.
And again, you'll see the Southern Columbia defense, their pursuit to the ball, they run to the football, which you want all of your players to do.
Well, the Indians open the season with a come-from-behind win against Milton, 34-33. Great way to start if you're Henry Hynoski. They lost to a very good North Schuylkill team, 36-15, and put it on Central Mountain, which does not have a win this year, 35-6. And call a timeout for the Indians. Second one of this half. We'll talk over this offense on second and long.
One of the things that has to be changed, I think, from my observation here is kickoff returns. The kicks are going down inside the 10 or 5 yard line, and the separation between the returner and his blockers is so great that the Southern Columbia coverage team is just beating the Shamokin blockers, and there's no place to run. I've run kickoffs back, and it's a scary place to be when nobody blocks.
Well, next week Southern will take on Central Columbia. Central winning tonight over Hughesville 28-7 in the second quarter. Shamokin will go against Lewisburg. Week number 4 of high school football. return of Henry Hanaski, not what he had hoped for from his Indian team. Here's James. Nice yardage on second down, third and long facing Shamokin.
The toss, just the cutback course taken by the back, up inside the C gap. One of the more successful runs that Shamokin has had. Third, quite a bit.
But again now, everyone on the defensive side expecting the pass. And can't really fool anybody. This is where Southern just is going to bring a lot of different people.
And it appears that Julian Fleming is playing the field side corner.
Trying to get Bowers. Good pursuit on the backside. That was Robert Williams. He's a 6-foot senior with a flag down. It's going to go against Southern. This may give them Indians their first down of the game.
Personal foul, face mask on a defense. 15-yard penalty. Yardage gets them a first down.
When you're coaching, you try to tell your defenders to reestablish the line of scrimmage in the backfield. You try to tell your blockers to reestablish the line of scrimmage downfield. At this particular point, Southern Columbia is doing what they have to do, reestablishing or establishing the line of scrimmage. As we've said this over our broadcast, what happens up inside between the linemen, that's going to determine the outcome of games.
Tossed to James, comes back the other way, but tripped up by Kroll on the backside. A loss of 1.
Your viewers will see the pursuit angles of Southern Columbia's defense. There you see 4 black shirts in the backfield.
And we have an injured Indian. It looks like one of the linemen maybe turned his ankle a little bit, as you can see him grabbing it. They catch a number. Let's take a look at some standings right now in the Heartland Conference. Southern right there. They're in Division 3 this year. Last year they were in Division 2. South Williamsport always there. They're Class A team. Mount Carmel, who Southern beat in week 2. Central's right there, who Southern plays next week. Bloomsburg, Tigers beat them already, and Hughesville losing tonight to Central.
When a game is getting away from you, it's a daunting task to be able to call plays when you're on the losing end. Your passing game hasn't worked. Your running game has been stymied. And when it's time to call that next play, you're going to wonder, well, what are we going to do about that?
62 coming off the field. Delroy Wolf, I believe. 5'11", 250, just a freshman. Pretty big freshman, though.
Absolutely.
Southern Columbia, of course, ranked first in the state. Probably the favorite again to win 2A, the way things will work out. Here's Wetzel. He can throw because he was the quarterback. He looked like he was trying to throw. Instead, the Tiger defense takes him down for a 4-yard loss. Late flag coming in from our referee tonight, who is Mark Clark out of District 4.
That was going to be a play or a pass by the running back, Julian.
Again,
Julian Fleming and one other defender had the coverage on that. There was no place for number 4 to throw the football.
Flag goes, as you can see, against the Tigers. So that's going to bring up 3rd and 1. Best field position of Shamokin on the night, up to the 47-yard line. So a couple penalties so far on this drive. They've kept it going.
8 men up front.
Bowers looked like he was trying to throw it quick. Instead, he comes down with it, and it's going to be
a fumble.
4th down. Coach said the ball was on the turf. Indians still have it. Wetzel actually has the ball. So 4th down on the way.
That's a questionable call, I think. At that particular point, you had less than a yard. I know that Southern had 8 men on the line of scrimmage, so perhaps that was the reason the call was made.
Fourth and 2. Shamokin's going to go for it. Henry is going to call a timeout. 6:31 left in this first half, 34-0 to score. Henry's going to talk it over.
They're committing everybody to the line of scrimmage. That time there were 9 men up on the line of scrimmage or near the line of scrimmage and 2 deep, challenging you to run the ball at us.
They've had some success with Madden running a little bit. James, a couple of positive yards.
What's impressed me up to this particular point is the speed of the defense on the part of Southern Columbia. Their players really run to the football. It's nice to see that, especially if the ball's away from you. You expect your defenders to get on their pursuit angles, and they've done that exceptionally well tonight.
Well, Hanoski's changed his mind. The punt team's on, down 34-0. Fleming's still back out there to receive.
I don't think that they're sure that they're going to punt, because Fleming is not that deep.
James holds it. And Fleming will just let it take a bounce. And the ball's going to be down at the 22.
Tonight's Friday Night Rivals game is brought to you by the Toyota RAV4. Toyota, let's go places.
We're back at Tiger Stadium in Catawissa. Bob Ide, Stan Koharski, the Hall of Fame coach, Paul Grippy, down on the sidelines, I believe, chasing after James Franklin. I don't think, yeah, James is still here, but Paul is a good distance. Maybe he got a restraining order. Franklin, the Penn State coach, still taking in this game. Here's a flag coming in as Garcia turns the corner, maybe holding. And this is not the first time that James Franklin has shown up to one of our games, and happened to be with Southern Columbia. Here we'll look at this one again. Coach, see if we see the holding.
It appears that it's Gavin Garcia. His brother's not going to be happy with that.
No. Come on, man. Right? Bro?
When we were on the field before the game and we were watching the warm-ups.
Here's Coach coming in with the number 4 jersey. I don't think it's any secret who he's looking at tonight. He won't tell you. He's not allowed to, but pretty much know Julian Fleming, his focus. In fact, he could probably take 2 or 3 guys off this team. He said when he took over he was going to recruit in the state. He's done that. He's also has some great recruiting classes over the years.
That's what it's all about at the NCAA level. You've got to get out and beat the bushes and bring in talent from all over.
Well, what do you think of the drive from here? About an hour and a half for him from State College?
I'm sure it's a good investment on his part, time-wise.
Huge crowd on hand. Homecoming here in Tiger Stadium. Back to the right of us from the press box, standing room only. Out to Fleming, one-on-one. There's the pursuit. Good job by Masser out there. Good defense, about a yard gain. Well,
excellent
no
defense.
gain.
Excellent defense that time. Fleming tried to shift his weight back and forth and was not able to get away from the defender. This is the first time I've been at this stadium, Bob. New lights, this is a new technology.
Yep. Well, the field was new last year when we were here, and done some improvements through the years. Scoreboard, I love the scoreboard. You can see it from a mile away. Trying to set up a screen, a lot of room, but great defense by Shamokin. Looks like Garcia might have it. Rodarmal. Here's the replay, coach.
Hollenbach's going to take a shot here.
Nate Grimes, one of our impact players, makes the first hit.
That the runner doesn't go down very easily.
So 3rd and 20 for the Tigers. Coming up on the 5-minute mark in the half. Coach Franken taking some pictures on the sidelines with people. Let's see what the play call is from the Tigers. 3rd and 20. That little inside to Garcia. And Cage Garcia breaks into the open, and you won't catch him either. Plaza House touchdown for Cage Garcia, 88 yards. No flags down. And here comes the extra point team.
There we see it. He's out in front. The speed of this team is really extraordinary.
How about the touchdowns tonight? 79 yards, Fleming, 76 yards, Fleming, and now 88 on a 3rd and 20. Dunkelberger's take is good. And it's 41-0 now, Southern Columbia over Shamokin here in Catawissa.
Watching Friday Night Rivals on my TV, WQMY.
We are back in Catawissa. Southern Columbia puts up another score. Special teams playing pretty good. We have a flag down.
What does this tell you? It's 3rd and 20. What does it tell you that they run a sweep?
Unsportsmanlike conduct.
Confidence and trust that
On a kicking team.
the confidence and trust that Coach Roth has in his playmakers. To hand the ball off and expect to even get a first down is something. But to go 80-some yards, exceptional.
Flag goes against Southern, gives Shamokin some breathing room this time. They have not had any success on special teams tonight. So the ball will be moved up to the 36. 4:26, 4:18 left, I should say, in the first half. James tripped up by Lynn. Done a nice job tonight, the junior. And of course, Toyota key to the game. You got to defend the outside run, coach.
The speed defensively is just overwhelming. It appeared that the running back from Shamokin had leverage to the outside, and suddenly there's the defender.
Can you teach that speed?
No, but I'll tell you what you can teach are angles. That's what tackling is all about in many instances, especially when you're running to the perimeter.
Play comes in, will stop this play. But even with like the parachutes and you train at that, does that help gain speed?
I learned during the course of my coaching career, there's 2 things physically that you can do to become a little bit faster. You can increase your stride.
For the snap, false start, offense. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
You can increase your stride, work on drills that'll do that, and you can increase the number of strides you take in a race of any type. Beyond that, there's not much you can do. Genetically, you're faster, you're not fast. It's the way it is for the most part. So you can gain a little bit of speed by working on those 2 things, but it's tough.
Second and long coming up for the Indians. Fullback Wetzel. Halliday there, Lynn as well. He's been in a lot of tackles. There's Halliday. We'll Coach Hanoski came in, I'm going to establish the run. I'm going to run it, run it, run it. And that's exactly what he's done. Only a couple passes. He's had some drop, Bowers has, but
They haven't had any substantial gains running the ball. I think perhaps 6 yards might have been their longest rushing attempt.
5-man rush. Bowers can't get away from it. Taken down by number 42, Nate Carney, a junior. Another sack for Southern.
Here we go. 81, 3. They're all through. When you calculate the yardage for the first half, Shamokin's going to be negative. They're going to be at negative yardage. They've been sacked a couple of times. They've had losses on running plays.
So another punt by James. Right to Fleming, and he just downs it at the 32. So sportsmanship going to come into play now, of course, with Jim Roth and Henry Hanoski. 41-0 last week against Selinsgrove was 48-0 at the half, and it remained that way for the whole game. So Coach Roth not going to run the score up.
One of the things that helps a program develop is to get your young kids in when you're way ahead during the course of the first half. You get your underclassmen in there, put them in the fire.
See what Southern will do. Hollenbach still will have a backup quarterback now. Darble up for some. Couple oohs and ahs. Hit coming in.
Straight dive.
Zachman in underneath the center. He's a junior, played a bunch of wide receiver this year. Of course, one thing, we want to look ahead a year. We have to find a quarterback next year. As we said, Hollenbach will be down in Tuscaloosa. Well, this guy back, Gavin Garcia, is tackled inside by the Indians.
And Gage.
And Gage, I know.
They're going to have to split the number of carries they're going to get.
And Fleming.
That doesn't seem fair.
And Halliday. And Tillett. You want me to keep going on the juniors they have?
Not only juniors, but talented juniors.
Clock will roll towards a minute left in the half. Not much happening. Gage up to midfield. Clock will stop to move the chains. That's about it. Coming up at the half, we'll talk to one of our sponsors, Sunbury Motors. Ryan Leitzel stopped by this afternoon. Speak to him. We'll have our Fox 56 News first at 10 with a news update, and then Stan and I will be back with stats and highlights. Paul Grippy will grab Jim Roth at halftime and then talk to Henry Hanoski. Darmo tripped up.
Preston Zachman is in there at quarterback, and he's listed as a receiver, I believe, and a linebacker.
So Henry Hanoski, the former Southern Columbia standout who led his team to 4 state championships, leads his Indians team in. They're unable to stop Southern Columbia as the defending state champs put up 41 points on him, and that will be the score at the half. Paul Grippy trying to track down Coach Roth. And then we'll get you to halftime here at Tiger Stadium. Coach Roth, I think Coach Roth took a sprint up up to the locker room, and that's the way we're going to end it. We'll try to catch him on the backside, but right now, at the half, there's your score, 41-0.
This is Friday Night Rivals on MyTV WQMY.
We're at halftime at Southern Columbia, and joining me now from Sunbury Motors is Ryan Leitzel. And Ryan, give us a little history about Sunbury Motors.
We've been in business for 103 years. It was actually started by J.O. Mertz in 1915, and it's a family-owned business, 4 generations passed down through the Mertz family.
And it's grown over the years. What kind of manufacturers do they offer now?
We're actually a Western Star, Ford, Hyundai, Kia, and Lincoln dealership.
And it's all based in the Sunbury area?
Yep. The Kia dealership is actually across the river on 11 and 15, but the rest of everything else is in Sunbury.
You're actually part of the commercial truck division. It's one of the largest in central Pennsylvania. Give us information on that.
We've actually had a commercial truck department for over 30 years. We specialize in all commercial vehicles. We do anything from garbage trucks and dump trucks to vans and cube vans. We also actually have a CoStars contract, which with that we can sell police cars, fire trucks, and also like township trucks and things like that. We can pretty much build any commercial vehicle that you would need. If we don't have it in stock, we can definitely build it. So pretty much if you have any commercial vehicle needs, if you would just come see us at the dealership, we'd be glad to help you out and take care of your needs for a commercial vehicle.
Now you had a sweet ride coming here. Look at this bad boy behind us. Tell us what this is. A Ford?
Yeah, this is actually a 2018 F250. It started off as just an XLT F250, pretty run-of-the-mill truck. But then we teamed up with Marv Speed and Auto in Herndon, Pennsylvania, and they did this build for us. We wanted to do something that was off the wall and not something everybody has sitting on the lot. So this is kind of a one-off truck. Nobody else really has anything like it, at least not yet. We call it the Terminator. That's kind of the name we gave for it because it looks like something that would be in the movies. We put a leveling kit on it. It's got 37-inch tires, 20-inch Ultra wheels. It's got a Fab 4 front end and windshield surround on it, and it's a pretty cool looking truck. It's definitely gets some heads turning. When I drove it out here today, I think a couple people almost snapped their neck looking at it. It definitely gets a lot of attention. So.
I like the guys to get a sweet shot of the front here, because really that makes it right here. This, John, if you could get a shot right here. Look at this thing. It does look like something out of the movies. It's pretty cool looking. When I first saw it, and everyone's like, that's the biggest truck we've ever seen.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like I said, definitely gets a lot of looks. When you pass somebody, they definitely look at it, that's for sure.
Okay, if they want to get in touch with you or the commercial division or even about this truck right here, give us more information how people can find out information on Sunbury Motors.
We have a website, obviously, which is www.sunburymotors.com. You can obviously call us 570-286-7746. Or you can just stop down and take a look. This thing's usually sitting up on the front corner right by the road where everybody can see it. And our commercial office is actually, if you're interested in commercial vehicles, is in the end of the Lincoln Hyundai building with the black roof. You can stop down there and see us there.
Thanks for coming over. I know everyone loved to see that truck.
Thanks for having me.
We're at halftime. We come back, we'll have stats and highlights from the first half. Welcome back to Jim Roth Field at Tiger Stadium. We're in Columbia County, Catawissa, just down the road from Elysburg and Knoebels Amusement Resort. Welcome inside the booth, everyone. Bob Ide and Stan Kaharski, Paul Grippy's on the sideline. As expected, Henry Hanoski's return as the Shamokin coach. Greeted not very warmly by Jim Roth and the Southern Columbia team. The Tigers lead 41-0. They scored on 6 of 7 possessions in the first half and really made it look easy.
Absolutely. The Garcia brothers, 4 touchdowns between the two of them. Long runs, long passes. Julian Fleming is the real deal. Hollenbeck threw the ball exceptionally well on those 2 scores. It's a tough situation for Coach Hanoski and his Indians. When you go in at halftime, what do you say? And I think, again, one of the things that is a reality is that you ask yourself this question: how did Southern get to this point? How long did it take? What did they do that we have to do to become? And he's lived through that, so he knows that. So that's the message at halftime, because there's nothing else you could say.
Nope.
They were just beaten by a superior group of kids on Southern Columbia's offense and defense.
Jim Roth was so excited at halftime about his team's performance, he ran back up to the field. But you'll know he'll find something to pick apart. Not much there, though, for the Tigers.
Well, we spoke to him before the start of the game, and he was concerned that the focus and the consistency might waver a little bit, especially when you're ahead 48-0, 41-0 at halftime. How to stay focused is a very difficult chore. You're dealing with young men that are 14, 15, 16, 17 years of age, and they're not being paid or anything like that, so their focus could just drift, and that's what he wants to guard against.
Okay, Paul Grippy now catching up with Henry Hanoski.
Okay, Bob, halftime, the Shamokin team coming out of the locker room. I'm with Shamokin coach Henry Hinoski. 41-0 in that first half. What were your thoughts as your team went through those first two quarters?
Well, I mean, that's definitely not the product we wanted to put on the field there by any means. We're just not executing at any phases of the game, really. But what I want to see this half is I want to see the kids come out and play hard, show some pride, and just have play hard this second half and carry this momentum forward.
You had a similar game 2 weeks ago against North Schuylkill, so they've been through this before, and you probably want to build on that one.
Yeah, I do. I mean, any chance you get to build on what you're trying to work on, you know, it's a great opportunity for us to go out and work on our offense, work on our defense, and everything we want to do moving forward. So, like I said, I just want to see great effort and great pride out there, and we'll see if we can have a little better second half.
All right, Coach. Thanks a lot for joining us. Appreciate it. Good luck in the second half. Completely composed with all the nerves he's going through tonight. Bob, he's playing against his old alma mater on the field where he starred for 4 years here, high school football, and he's got his team focused. They're not the result they want in the first half, but they're focused.
Here come the Tigers back on the field. Now let's take a look at some highlights. As expected, Southern with good field position most of that first half. Gavin Garcia took in the first play, and then this couple big ones in the middle by Fleming.
Exceptional speed. There's nobody even near him. He just creates a gap between the defenders and himself.
That was 79 yards, and then it turned out to be a 76-yarder after that.
There's not much you can do. You can't take speed and hand it to a kid that just doesn't run very well.
And Hollenbach right precisely to Cage Garcia. He gets one back on through the air.
A beautiful block by Julian Fleming. Knocked two of the defenders down.
Then the little bro gets in the act. Gavin Garcia, he's great speed.
We saw him, and if we took his helmet and shoulder pads off and had him walk through the halls of our high school, we'd never believe that he was a varsity football player, just looking at him physically.
And his big brother, boy, he's got wheels as well. 88 yards. That was on 3rd and 20. And not much going wrong for Southern Columbia. 64 straight. Looks like they'll pick up win number 65 in a row, move to 4-0 on the year. We'll have the rolling clock in the second half as Southern's up 35 points. Both teams back on the field. And we're waiting the second half kick, which Southern will get. And probably see a lot of backups. And, you know, Jim Roth, he did last week. They're up 48-0. He's not going to roll the score up. Going to take it easy and probably keep his kids healthy, if anything, too. Coach Roth with James Franklin. Offense, that was a wide receiver coach there. Probably very impressed with what he's seen. Coach Franklin, that is, and Jim Roth. Central Columbia, who will face the Tigers next week, they're winning their game. Shamokin's going to move on to Lewisburg. And Lewisburg's coming back after a loss last week. They'll move to 3-1. We'll take a look at some district standings in the second half as we're coming up on, believe it or not, Coach, on the midway part of the year.
We've said this over and over again. Time flies by when you're having fun. And to believe that this is going to be the end of the 4th week of the season is just compelling.
Kramer will tee it up. Senior kicker. Looks like Fleming and Garcia are back to receive. And we're underway in the second half here in Catawissa.
There's a seam.
There's Garcia through the seam, as Coach mentioned. Cage Garcia puts Southern on the board. 85 yards for a Plaza House touchdown.
Took all of 13 seconds.
And we have a flag. Is that a flag in the middle of the field? We do have a flag down at the 10-yard line to our right, Coach. And we can't teach speed. I mean, what are you going to say?
The thing that's remarkable is the separation that's created once Garcia and Fleming get into the field. They just separate.
Matt Clark, our referee. I'm not sure what the call is. Did see two guys going at it down about this side.
Personal foul on the kicking team. 15-yard penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
There you see the penalty. So Dunkelberger on to add to the extra point. And it was 48-0 last week with the extra point. Could be 48-0 in week number 4.
They're a well-oiled machine.
And for this flag, it's probably going to go against Southern. Maybe some movement up front. Referee's going to call them back. Probably kick it again.
Before the snap, encroachment on the defense. 5-yard penalty, retry.
I'm not sure why they're retrying.
Happened before the snap?
Well, they should have blown it dead.
They should have blown it dead, right. So we'll try this again. Dunkelberger up and through, makes it 48-0. 13 seconds into the second half. Not much more you can say about that with capacity crowd here at Catawissa, Tiger Stadium. Homecoming. Still a lot of fans left here despite the score 48-0.
Now one would assume that the Tigers will substitute rather significantly. What does Coach Hynoski do? Does he keep his first team in there? Does he substitute to get some other players some experience? That's a decision, obviously, that he has to make.
Some quick halftime stats. Remember, these are at the half. Hallenbach was 4 of 6, 173 yards, 3 touchdowns. Gage Garcia, who had the touchdown there on the kickoff, ran 7 times for 102 yards and a touchdown. Did have 1 through the air. Julian Fleming, 3 catches, 137, 2 touchdowns. Not much more you can say.
Southern Columbia's average per catch is impressive. They're not nickel and diamond downfield. They're throwing the ball downfield, and of course with Fleming and with Garcia, they're able to get big plays.
So Dunkelberger will tee it up, give it back to the Indians. Let's see if Shamokin can come out with a little bit of a victory. Remember, the kick had a penalty on it, so 15 yards helped with that touchback. So here's Division 1. Again, Lewisburg is winning. Shamokin will drop to 2-2. Jersey Shore, Sealsgrove. Sealsgrove taking on Shikellamy tonight. And at the half, the Seals were up over the Braves, 14-0.
Southern has their first team defense still on the football field.
Sell on that last. It is Colin Bowers over 4 in the first half, and Bryson James, biggest run of the night for him, give him 11 yards. That was a good game.
I believe that that's the first down that the offense has earned other than the penalties. It's a quick hitter, just a straight dive.
You can see they have some beef up front to the Shamokin. They have some big guys. This is Wetzel, tripped up. Gain of 6. A couple of positive plays now for Shamokin.
And that's what Coach Hanoski wants to do. Do things positively, play each down hard, as I said before.
Shamokin with the numbers on their helmets as Tigers are right there.
That was James, who was initially stopped and spun, was able to pick up an extra yard or two.
Again, you heard what Coach Henry Hanoski said at the half. He talked to Paul Grippy and just come out with some kind of positive. Again, 1 win, 2 wins over the last 2 seasons. 2 wins this year already, even though they'll drop to 2-2 on the year. Again, the clock will keep rolling, even on first down as Wetzel brings it up.
You'll see that on that particular down, Southern Columbia committed 9 players to the line of scrimmage.
And we are going to have a timeout. So give us a chance now to get down to Paul Grippy, who's near Coach Franklin.
I'm rubbing elbows with some VIPs down here on the field, Bob. You know, I thought you were the most famous guy in the stadium, but someone got you beat when he showed up at the last minute. Penn State football coach James Franklin in attendance tonight. Not his first Southern Columbia football game. We did see him last year in the freezing cold state playoffs at Danville. Now, he's not allowed to give interviews when he's making an appearance like this. That's against NCAA rules, but then again, everything is against NCAA rules. But Franklin is here, obviously, to look at players, although he won't admit it. And it's pretty certain that one particular player he's looking at is Julian Fleming for Southern Columbia. He's only a junior, but he has already shortened his list of college choices down to 6, and Penn State happens to be on that list, but so is Ohio State, Virginia Tech, USC, Georgia, and Clemson. So James Franklin coming down the road the night before a game. His Nittany Lions 2-0 taking on Kent State tomorrow at noon at Beaver Stadium. Franklin's been very friendly tonight, Bob, shaking hands, taking pictures. He's the most popular guy in the place, and the crowd loves him, and he's got a smile, and he's being friendly to everyone. But, you know, he really wants Julian Fleming to join his team.
Yeah, he's after him strong, no doubt. And I don't think it's a secret. He can't say it as Paul said, but, you know, Paul, once he leaves, you will be the most popular person in the state. So you better watch out. Kids will be coming up for you for your autographs, so you better hide. So they got a first down there. You see Fleming playing defense. James getting the bulk of the carries here. Or was that Madden? That was Madden, I think 34 who got that.
This is a positive drive. They've run the ball successfully. And it's a good gut check for Shamokin.
Tough hitting in there. As Lynn comes in again, and they're going to actually get the ball. I thought it was a fumble, and we'll see it again.
There the ball comes out, and number 24 is able to scoop it up.
Cade Lynn, another junior. So Kroll made the initial hit. Cade Lynn in there. Called his name several times tonight. So Preston Zachman, who ended the first half underneath center, he'll come back out. Hallenbeck's night is done. So Garcias Garcia's out of the game. This is Brandon Gedman, a sophomore. He's actually has 72 yards and a touchdown this season. And this has been the pedigree this year. Except for the Mount Carmel game, these kids are getting playing time in the second half.
And that'll pay dividends down the road. First of all, it builds up the enthusiasm, the confidence in these young men.
Braden Heim in the backfield is sophomore, so some of the sophomores are getting some time in. He'll actually get the ball up the right side. Couple yards on that play. Southern Columbia last year, of course, won their 8th state championship. We had the game against Dunmore in the semifinals, in which Dunmore actually took an early lead, but after that it was all Southern.
Gage Garcia had quite a game.
Yeah, he did. And then, of course, they went on to beat Wilmington to get that state title. The last time the Tigers lost here, 2005, Henry Hanoski was on the team, and it was to Shamokin.
One of the amazing things about Southern Columbia is that their offense is relatively simple, at least tonight it is. They're in their wing tee, they're running their sweeps, and they're telling the defense, stop us. And of course, that up to this particular point, they have not been able to do that.
Just got to take their time, see what happens. Not look at the score, but you're not, at this point, you got to let the kids play.
That's just the belly play. Back to the weak side. What you'll notice on those plays, where are the offensive linemen from Southern Columbia? And they're downfield. That means they're knocking their defenders back and they're recreating that line of scrimmage. And that's what you want as a line coach. Knock those people off the line of scrimmage.
Well, Shamokin knocked people off the line of scrimmage that time. Wetzel in there, and they'll recover the fumble.
They stacked into the A gaps and just fired through between the guard center gaps. Looks like another contingent of defenders have come in. I don't see Fleming back.
Looks like, so we have some backups in now for Southern on defense, as you might expect. Still the starters out there for the Indians. Bowers underneath center. He's going to go to the air on first down. Overthrows Zalik West.
If West just ran straight down the field, there wouldn't have been anybody within 10 yards of him. They call the comeback on that. Ball was slightly overthrown.
So down to still at the 34. You know, Bowers had good numbers coming in. Again, 241 yards against Milton. 474 yards. Just one interception on the year. But really, Henry Hanoski is early on said we're going to try and run, and wasn't successful. Here's James. Didn't really want to open up the quarterback a little bit at all.
When you look at this picture, what do you see? You see 10 Southern Columbia players running to the football. And that's, again, that's what's expected. That's what they have a tendency to do on a regular basis. They don't give up.
Looked like Cam Halliday in there, number 86, for the stop. And it's 3rd and long again for the Indians. Bowers back, going to air it out downfield to Masser, well overthrown. Gavin Garcia on the coverage, and 4th down for the Indians. So coming in, you had a sense Southern was going to build a lead. We just want to see, you know, if Shamokin 2-1 coming in could play up. They got beat on the first couple plays because they had a field position. They were inside their own 20. Couple kicks they just couldn't handle. And the special teams for Southern gave Shamokin bad field position. They were forced to punt in short fields.
Yes, short fields and a talent imbalance.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody on Shamokin's team has the speed of either Fleming or the Garcia brothers, for that matter. Not just, and what's interesting is that Hollenbeck could probably throw the ball 25 times a game and at 65% completion. And what's he, 6 times?
Yeah.
7? So he's not even showcasing his skills. If they get into a situation where they're going to play a team that physically can match up with them, those skills are going to evidence themselves.
It is Military Appreciation Night along with homecoming, and Paul Grippy's caught up with, I can't see, but someone in uniform, Paul.
Okay, so it is Armed Services Night here at Tiger Stadium, Southern Columbia football game, and I have Staff Sergeant Acker of the National Guard here with me tonight. So all the military branches are here. What kind of message are we trying to get out tonight?
We're just trying to, Southern actually approached us and asked about a Military Appreciation Night. They wanted a good way to say thank you to everybody from their area for their service, and we figured what better way than to bring all of our assets out here and be here for them.
Yeah, it's so great when we appreciate the military and tell them how great a job they're doing, and we just don't tell them often enough, but because the job they do, we should tell them every day. But you're very popular here because you have a little football game, and the kids have been here all night. So what's the object of this game? How's it work?
So basically what we do is we have 4 National Guard footballs, and you just step up to the line, and you got to get the ball through the hoop there.
All right, so there's the target over there, and that's probably about 12 or 15 feet away. Now, hopefully James Franklin is watching because I still have NCAA eligibility, and Trace McSorley has to graduate at some point. So let me give this one a try, and then we'll see how Staff Sergeant Acker does. All right, here we go.
Oh.
All right, a little low, but that was on the numbers. All right, Staff Sergeant Acker, let's see how you do it. National Guard stepping up. He hit the same spot I did. All right, anyone got a ball? Go ahead, throw it him, everybody. Look at this. Popular all night. These kids have been throwing the balls in the hoops and doing a pretty good job. Maybe one day one of them will be a Southern Columbia quarterback, Bob.
Yeah, Paul. I think he could have done better. Maybe he didn't have a warm-up, or we'll give him the benefit of the doubt, Stan.
He's the most popular guy in the building now. If Coach Franklin
He is.
left.
There's no doubt. There'll be people flocking over there now if they find him over by the National Guard tent. Under a minute to play, just one score. That was the opening kick of this half, and Southern took it the distance. That's where the score is, and we're into what they call the mercy roll. We're 35 and above. The clock will continue to run.
Completely different offensive front for Southern.
Some positive run by Heim. Up near a first down. That should be the last play of this quarter.
You can't put a premium on experience like this. The more times you get in a game, you see things. What happens, the game gets slower.
Yeah.
The more you play, the game slows down. When you just start playing, that game is so fast. And of course, at every level, it becomes faster and faster. So the more experience you have in dealing with what goes on, the better off you're going to be.
3/4 of the book here in Catawissa. All Southern Columbia tonight as they look to go 4-0 on the season.
Friday Night Rivals is brought to you by Toyota, Let's Go Places, Luzerne County Community College, Sunbury Motors, Keystone College, Plaza House Furniture, and Manuka Subaru.
You'll find Plaza House Furniture showrooms in Selinsgrove and Bloomsburg with more than 100,000 square feet of showroom space. You can update your home with the latest in furniture styles or just add a new companion piece. And comparison shopping is easy with so many choices all under one roof. Plaza House guarantees the lowest prices and the 50-mile free delivery. Plaza House Furniture in Selinsgrove and Bloomsburg. Our house is your house.
Start of the fourth quarter. Bob Ide, Stan Koharski, and Paul Grippy here. Still coming up, our Keystone College trivia question, Coach. I know your anticipation. is riding high. Also try to run through some of the district standings going in. Not much to talk about around the scoreboard. A couple blowouts tonight. Closest game is Muncie and South Williamsport. Both of those teams were undefeated going in. Muncie actually leads South Williamsport 20-18. So punt down there. Indians 30. Here comes the offense for Shamokin. So here at the stadium, they're missing an iPhone. Somebody lost an iPhone.
It's not mine.
It's not mine. Well, yours, you left somewhere today before you came. So
true. My wife yelled at me.
Timeout on the field now, called by the Indians. It's the only reason the clock will stop. And it's a Keystone College timeout called by Southern Columbia.
You want to take little victories from this, however small they might be. When the Shamokin players get into the film room, when they watch their videos, or they have huddle at home, or whenever they watch it, they've got to evaluate themselves as honestly and objectively as they possibly can. And they've got to improve. That's what this is all about, to get better every single day. That's why you want to go to practice every day and work real hard.
So after the timeout, Indians back on the field. New quarterback, Nate Grimes. Looks like the heir apparent. He's a junior. Still some starters out there for the Indians.
Here's a straight dive play, met by two Southern Columbia tacklers, number 46 or 8? 46. Put a good lick on the running.
Wade Kerstetter, sophomore. Made the tackle. Ian Yoder out to the outside, pushed out of bounds, about an 8-yard gain.
Perimeter play. Hard run by number 7.
The biggest question I have is, can anybody play with Southern on their schedule coming up?
Well, you know more about these conferences than I do. I'm a little bit more familiar with the Lackawanna Conference. But it doesn't appear that there's anybody there that's of the caliber of speed and talent that Southern has.
And Coach Roth talked to you before the game about just trying to keep these kids focused on the regular season. Everyone's talking about the postseason.
Well, that's because they've been so accustomed to winding up in Hershey over the decade. It's remarkable, and it's tough. These kids are affected by this. I can imagine when they're in school, or I don't know if they walk through the community. We're kind of isolated. But the expectations by the fan base is what puts a lot of pressure. Coaches try to mute any overzealousness on the part of where we're headed. But we said this before, Bob. When you go to Southern Columbia, the expectation is not just to win your conference or your division or your league or your district. It's to get to Hershey.
Here's the schedule for the Tigers the rest of the season. Again, they'll match up with their rival, Central Columbia, who's having a very good year. We'll actually see Central later on in the season against Lewisburg in a good matchup for district points. South Williamsport, Muncie again squaring off. That's a good game. And Jersey Shore tonight winning their game. Shikellamy losing. Hughesville and Danville at the end. We saw Danville they're pretty talented. And again, you get that game at Danville, and we had them here last year. Wasn't much of a game, but again, the Ironmen, they have the talent on the offensive side.
Their challenge will be to protect Caden Riley. That's what, because again, I'm not sure that they can run against the defense of Southern Columbia. Riley's having a very, very good year as a quarterback. Those expectations that we just mentioned are really critical. These kids got to maintain balance, and just I can applaud what Coach Roth said, to stay focused.
Timeout on the field, a Keystone College timeout. Clock stops 8:07 in this one. 48-0 still the score. And the trivia, Henry Anoski played in Super Bowl 46, and I believe Paul Grippy's with us.
Hello.
What were his stats in Super Bowl 46?
Oh, okay. I know he had one fumble recovery, but for stats, go ahead, Coach. You guess first.
65 yards on 8 carries.
8 carries? He's a fullback with the Giants.
Well,
All
listen.
right. All right, here's my guess.
Okay, go ahead.
19 yards on 2 carries.
Are you Googling it? You have to be Googling that. Where
no.
you're on your phone, I can't see you.
No, I'm not on my phone. I did look it up in preparation for tonight's festivities. All right.
That's a man that does his homework, Coach.
You're a cheat, Paul. You're a cheat.
Give you the answer in a minute. Paul just gave you the answer. Our Keystone College trivia. Yes, he had 2 receptions for 19 yards and a big fumble recovery. And the Giants won.
And it was Akeem Nicks who made that fumble.
Yep.
And that was deep in Giants territory, where if the Patriots had recovered there, it would have been an easy score. All right, let me ask you, Mr. Bob-Eyed and Coach Koharski. Can you name any other Pennsylvania players who were in that game?
Oh, God. In that game?
Other Pennsylvanians in that game.
Saquon Barkley doesn't count, right?
No. No. I'll give you a hint. One was from District 2.
The Giants?
District 2. Well, they played the Patriots. Patriots and the Giants played in Super Bowl 46, District 2.
Well,
oh, wait.
You got it. Go ahead.
No, I was thinking somebody else. He was a player, right?
Yeah, 2. One from District 2, and I'll tell you the other one was from District 11. And the one from District 11 was college teammates with the one from District 2. And I'll break the suspense. From Montrose High School.
Oh,
Chris Snee.
Chris Snee was an offensive lineman for the Giants. He went to Boston College.
Yes.
And was on the same team with Dan Coppin at BC, who played for the Patriots. And he is from Whitehall High School. And Coppin was injured that season, but he was a member of the Patriots, and he did win other Super Bowls with the Patriots. But there you go, 3 Eastern Pennsylvania guys in that one Super Bowl.
Chris Snee was quite the player.
And the halftime show was performed by your favorite, Bob. It was Madonna. That one was in Indianapolis. Terrific Super Bowl.
That wasn't the helmet catch, was it?
No, that was a few years before.
Yep. No,
that one was the Mario Manningham catch at the end. And who was the little guy for New England? He kept dropping passes.
Your memory's a lot better than ours, Paul.
Slot back. From the Dolphins to the Patriots to the Broncos. Slot back. Wes Welker. Dropped all those passes.
So he turns to the camera person, John Gumble, the big NFL fan.
Because Wes Welker started with the Dolphins. And Mr. Gumble is the world's biggest Dolphins fan.
Yeah, we know.
Now let's talk about Dolphin trivia Super Bowl. Actually, I don't remember any. It's been so long.
They never won one, did they?
Okay. No Super Bowl.
Yeah. I don't know if they've won in Mr. Gumble's lifetime.
Probably not. Probably not. So
well, they went 16-0, did they not?
Yeah, at one point.
Did they win the Super Bowl that year?
Yeah. And they'll tell you, too, they did it. And they keep taking the picture every year.
The undefeated team.
The undefeated team. So Himes doing a nice job. There was actually a fumble. And the ball's going to go over to Shamokin. The clock will stop momentarily with 5:02. You saw it right there.
Hey, Bob, what was Henry Hynoski's nickname in the NFL?
Rhino.
Rhino.
The Rhinoceros.
Rhinoceros.
Well, that's close. That's
I
close
saw that,
enough.
yeah.
Rhinoceros. And when he scored his first touchdown, which was against the Eagles, he did some kind of action like a rhinoceros.
Yes, I do remember that.
Doing that funny little thing.
I do remember that.
Paul,
he was
it doesn't
popular.
seem fair that a player who ran for over 7,000 yards in high school won't get any carries even with the Giants.
I know.
Yeah. That's, you know, if you talk to Henry, he'll tell you that they just phased the fullback right out of the NFL. I don't know if there's any teams that really use a traditional fullback anymore.
They don't. They use H-backs, a lot of tight ends that they use in place of the fullback.
Well, how about the coaches Henry had? You know, here Jim Roth, Wannstedt at Pittsburgh, right?
Yes.
And then Coughlin at the Giants.
Yes.
All like to run the ball.
Yes.
Yes, that's true.
Okay, Paul.
Thanks, Bob.
Your players of the game, Paul. That's for you. You can name. How about you name the players of the game?
Okay.
Brought to you by Sunbury Motors.
Well,
I'll give you 2 guesses.
well,
okay.
Let me think. Julian Fleming, is that even close?
Probably a good one. Probably a good one.
Okay. And I'll take a Garcia brother.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
Both of them together or just one?
Well, whoever you want to pick is fine with me.
Well, I don't know. Well, those sound pretty good.
Okay.
Probably Cage. Okay. Thank you, Paul. So we'll get back to Paul with our Sunbury Motors players of the game in a minute. We'll take a look at some standings, though, now as we get towards the end of this game. Next week, we will tell you we're back in the Wyoming Valley Conference, and we'll have Holy Redeemer and Tunkhannock. So 2A now in District 4. Southern Columbia's already beaten Mount Carmel. Wellsboro undefeated. Bloomsburg, Lime Mountain, and Troy. Be honest, not much competition there. You see now most districts going to the point system. Do you want to explain that?
No.
Good. I don't think Paul can explain it. But most districts going to the point system, as I said, and there you see Southern. They'll probably win districts easily.
It's way above my math skills to be able to figure out how you earn those points.
Defense still playing strong for the Tigers.
It's Wolfgang Pearson. It's in there, 5'4", 126 junior. I'm sure Shamokin would like to get the ball into the end zone to avoid the shutout.
Yeah. So 3A, I think this is the closest and probably the most competitive in District 4. 3A, you have Danville in there, Loyal Sock as well. Lewisburger, we'll see Central Columbia. Mifflinburg's winning tonight. Montoursville's winning. That's probably going to be, that's a 6-18 field in 3A in District 4. So 3 weeks of playoffs. And it's very tight, and that's going to come down to points as well for home field advantage in that. 2 minutes left in this game. There's also 4A and A in District 4. There's no 5A or 6A teams in this district, as some of the fans now filing out here at Jim Roth Field, trying to beat the traffic. I'm sure a lot of teams, a lot of people will be tuned in to Penn State tomorrow at noon. Run by Grimes for a first down. 90 seconds left in this one. I want to thank our sponsors tonight, Sunbury Motors, Plaza House Furniture down here, Central PA, as well as our season sponsors, Manuka Subaru, Luzerne County Community College, Toyota, and Keystone College. A couple more plays, coach, and we'll be out of here early tonight. Same score as last week for Southern. They'll move to 4-0. Shamokin will drop to 2-2. And finally, our schedule coming up, as we said, we'll head back to the Wyoming Valley Conference as we'll go up to see Tunkhannock play. Then a big rematch, Valley View Berwick. Old Forge Trail beating Dunmore early on tonight. Nanticoke Lakeland, AAA action, and we'll be back in District 4 for our final time. That will be Lewisburg at Central Columbia, October 19th. And that will do it. This one is in the books. Time winding down. The final score will be 48-0. And, you know, you hear about Southern Columbia. I know you haven't your first time down here, but once you see it, you're impressed. And it's easy to be impressed.
It is. The energy that they played with tonight is indicative of a championship caliber football team. Very impressed with their defense. Their kicking game was very helpful, obviously, in terms of their kickoffs, which they did quite often because of the scores that they had. And the talent in the skill set is just amazing. The speed, it's tough to deal with speed like that.
There you see the pupil and the teacher shaking hands. So maybe things will turn the other way when Henry Anoski establishes a great program down in Shamokin, get the kids out.
It's going to take some time. I don't think that there's any question that you know, he's got this thing going in the right direction.
Paul Grippy has one of our Sunbury Motors players of the game, and pretty good one there, Paul.
Okay, Bob, that streak you saw going across your screen a couple of times, that's this guy, Julian Fleming, number 4, wide receiver, kick returner. Had a great night. How did you feel about the way you performed and contributed to your team's win here?
I mean, it felt great, especially just to come out. It was a real team effort. We were doing it on both ends, throwing the ball, running the ball, and on defense, they were really shutting everything down, so it really opened up the whole game in general.
Okay, you guys are off to a 4-0 start. I don't know if you noticed a certain VIP on the sidelines tonight. What's it like to have someone like that standing here watching your game and watching you play?
I mean, it means a lot. Just in you know, you want to be wanted by you know, one of the top tier people and one of the top tier programs. But I mean, you got to just keep your head on your shoulders, keep your head straight, and focus on the game, and then not who's on the sideline.
Okay, thank you very much. Good game. That's Julian Fleming, Sunbury Motors player of the game. Also, I have Gage Garcia, Sunbury Motors player of the game. You coming in tonight, certainly you want it to be 4-0, but what did you want to get specifically done against Shamokin tonight?
Definitely work on the run game. We've been struggling a little bit in the past with the run game and executing blocks and just things like that. And tonight we want to go in here and try to run the ball down their throats. So. Okay.
You had a great game. Your brother had a great game, kind of up-and-coming guy. What's it like to watch your brother play, and do you help him out a lot? Is there some competition?
Oh, there's definitely competition. We help each other out. I got his back. He's got my back. Seeing him score, it's just a great feeling. It's just like seeing myself score. It's a great feeling seeing him out here make it. He's quick and stuff like that, and he's learning from me. I'm taking things from him, and we're both just enjoying the time while we're at it. So.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah. Congratulations on the great game and the win. So Gage Garcia, Julian Fleming, the Sunbury Motors players of the game, and the Tigers are 4-0.
That's right, Paul. In Shamokin, it's back to work. They get Lewisburg next week, Coach. You know, Henry's going to have them ready, and you know they're going to be in the district mix.
Go back to work. You have to go back to work. You have to put this behind you. There's nothing you can do about this at this particular point. They've got to go ahead and face another decent competitor. And as I've said over and over again, baby steps. You take little victories here and there, and you build on those. It's important that you can use, he can use his experience here at Southern Columbia as a blueprint as to how his players over time will get better, and the program will get better if they commit themselves, they dedicate themselves, and do what is expected of them. I liked what he said. He expects his teams to be smart and disciplined. So they have to work on those things consistently.
That they do. Our next game next week, as we said, we'll be back in the Wyoming Valley Conference. The crew heads to Tunkhannock as Holy Redeemer takes on the Tigers. Will be on the air at 7 o'clock. Southern Columbia is the real deal. We see them. We might see them in the Eastern Final coming up at the end of November. But until then, our crew's going to keep rolling along. Great job by the Fox 56 Sports crew. Another great one in the books here in Catawissa. So for Paul Grippy, Stan Kaharski, this is Bob Ide saying so long, everyone, from Tiger Stadium.
This is Friday Night Rivals on MyTV WQMY.